broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello, Welcome Home listeners. Thank you for joining us on episode 27 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Trevor and Damon. Can you guys believe it's been 1 year of this podcast? Exactly a year. I can't even believe it.
It's amazing.
It is, right?
Yeah, I honestly, a year ago, this was pretty far outside of my comfort zone. Like the thought of doing a podcast like this as long as we have is pretty awesome. So
it makes me feel like a year has gone by too quickly. I mean, just barring the podcast itself, just in general.
Just in general. Just life.
In general, yeah.
Yeah, it's flown by. I mean, I don't know if this is true or not, but I feel like most podcasts don't even make it past the year. So for us to make it this far and to gain as many listeners as we have, and we appreciate all the...
I don't know if it's that. This is what I will say. To specifically be able to release at the same time, consistently across the year, I think is a huge goal for us. And I think that is something that we accomplished, and I think that the listeners enjoy. And while we do get some clamorings for an every week, just keep in mind that's not going to happen for a while. But, I feel like we've done a really good job on hitting that goal of making sure that, and a lot of that is Tom and the extra work that he does after we get off, because it's not just... what you hear, it's after, me and Trevor decide to go to bed after it's all over, Tom takes care of the rest, and that takes a lot of time. So, we do appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, thanks, guys. Wow. I have to go back and edit out all of my and ums and, make myself sound a little bit better. Yeah. But no, I appreciate that. But I can't believe we've done it every other week too. It's pretty amazing that we've been able to accomplish this. And, we did just see someone recently post on our Facebook asking for that their only complaint was that we would do more shows. And while we would love to do more shows, it is incredibly difficult with lives outside of the podcast to make that work. And so we appreciate that you want to hear more of us, and we wish we could give you more of us. But maybe someday we can. But right now I think our bi-weekly schedule we have going on is pretty good.
When one of us wins the lottery, this may be the job that all of us will have after that. So,
there you go. There you go.
Yeah, that's true. But I was going to say, if the lottery works out well, then yeah, I can do this full time. Absolutely.
Me too. And you know what? If I win the lottery, I'll even pay Tom and Trevor. How's that sound?
That sounds pretty good to me.
I would be down for that.
We'll do a daily show then. We'll start doing video. We'll have it all together. So, but yeah, thank you all for listening. Especially those of you that have been here since the beginning. It's really hard to build a podcast audience, and especially amongst all of the Disney podcasts that are out there. There are a lot of Disney podcasts, as you probably know. Those of you that listen to us, I'm sure you listen to multiple Disney podcasts. So we appreciate that you choose to listen to us as well. And we just have been absolutely, we've said this many times in the show, we just humbled by the crazy amount of support that we've gotten from everybody and all the emails we get and all the Facebook posts. I mean, we appreciate all of it, and thank you guys so much for listening. So we're going to continue this, and the cool thing is this episode is going to be released on April 2nd, which is actually, I believe, our exact anniversary. I think our first one was released on April 2nd, so which is pretty cool. So anyway, we'll get going here, since we don't spend forever talking about our 1 year anniversary, but the first thing here, and there's very little DVC news that has come out in the past week, but wanted to mention this really quickly. So a weekly wine tasting event is coming out for members, just for DVC members that that are at Old Key West. And what this is, it's a new experience that's scheduled to accommodate 20 people, so you can have 20 people at a time. I mean, obviously it's not just all your party, but everybody can have that. And basically, the idea is, you can do some wine tasting and some bite-sized food. It does cost $30 per person, including tax and gratuity. I don't know. I'm not a wine person, so I wouldn't be into this. But, these types of events pop up. But
is it just if you have to be staying at Old Key West, or you just have to go to Old Key West?
That's a good question. I didn't really see a distinction on that.
Well, it says it's at Olivia's Cafe, which is at Old Key West. I would think, if they've made it so that's only for people staying at Old Key West, yeah, that's pretty prohibitive. So
yeah, this is something that, again, I'm not a wine person either, but my wife is, and the family that we travel with. They're, the mother on that side is also. I mean, this is something that would be interesting to us. Again, I like these new experiences in general, even if it's not something that caters directly to myself. It shows that they're doing things, right? And at the end of the day, when you're a member of something, things get stale. I like the newness of it. It could be sampling sushi, which I don't eat at all, right? And it would still be fine by me because it's new. It's something different, and I like that.
And so the thing for me that grabs my attention about it, also, we're not wine drinkers either, so that part is really of no interest. But the part about exploring the legend of Olivia Farnsworth and the resort that surrounds her restaurant, see, I love stuff like that. I love the history. I love the stories that they put around these things sometimes that you don't always get to see, just going to the parks and the typical just touring around. I love when they offer things where, somebody can sit there and explain to you what the meaning is behind these things other than, it's a nice cafe or a nice restaurant or whatever. So, definitely. I'm glad that they're doing stuff like this, and I'm glad that they're expanding on the story that they have in everything that they do at Disney, right? So...
Yeah, I mean, that's what sets Disney apart always, right, is the story. So I think this is kind of cool. And maybe I'm ignorant on this, but I don't think Olivia was a real person. I'm assuming this is somebody they made up.
I'm pretty sure it is.
It is? Okay.
But again, they always make these things up, again, it's always supposed to be a narrative that they're telling. And a lot of times it kind of gets lost in just, people going there and going, I just want to eat. But if you start looking around, all the little details and everything do tell a story. And it would be fun to have somebody, explain that in more depth than just, sitting there looking at pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it is just, for detail's sake, this is happening on Sundays. And it is for guests 21 or older, obviously. But I don't even think they're allowing. I mean, that's a pretty obvious. Yeah.
What could go wrong?
I know, right? So, and it's from 3 to 4 p.m. at Olivia's Cafe at Old Key West. So you do have to call member services for more details, and I'm assuming to sign up for it. But like Damon said, I think it's always good whenever they're adding new things like this. Even if it is an upcharge type of situation, I think it's good to have options to do things like this and to try different things. And like Trevor was talking about, getting immersed in that story of that resort and of Olivia's and all of the things that come with that. And I've never actually stayed at Old Key West, so I've never gone to Olivia's, but I've always heard good things about Olivia's. I've always heard it's a really nice restaurant.
I think that's my August location.
Did you book finally? You hadn't booked the last time we talked, I thought.
I didn't book yet. Again, for what? I could book a week before. I mean, I'll get what I want.
I've heard the fried chicken there is what you want, by the way. That's what people seem to say.
Okay. That sounds good.
I put that on the list. I would be okay with that. I think the family would enjoy that. So,
well, yeah, okay, that's fun. So you haven't booked anything yet, but you're thinking that's where you're going to go?
No, I mean, my June trip is obviously booked, right? But outside,
where are
of
you
that,
staying in June again?
Animal Kingdom.
You say that so like Animal Kingdom Lodge is so great. I love that resort.
How many times have you been there?
I stayed there 3 times.
Okay, so I got you by a few.
Do you?
Right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And
it's the food. I forgot. You don't like the food.
I don't like the food. But I mean, it's okay. I've been there enough. I would have picked somewhere else, but it was one of those things where the other family already picked it because they got those special rooms, right? Those super big studio rooms. Don't they have them there or something like that? There's like 2 of them or something crazy.
I'm not sure I know what you mean.
There's some special rooms at Animal Kingdom that are either a single or a studio. I forget what they are. And there's a few of them, and they're pretty big, though, in terms of being like a special room. I don't know what it is. You can look it up and you can see. But anyway, they got one of those rooms over there at Animal Kingdom. So they're like, well, we're not moving because that's, we got this special room. It's super good. So we just decided that to make our life easier, while we would have probably gone back to Boardwalk, we're going to go to Animal Kingdom because we are going to go again in August and probably December. I'll be able to hit some other spots.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely, after staying at Boardwalk, I really want to own at Boardwalk, but I feel like the contract's a little too short.
It doesn't make sense, even at resale. It just doesn't make sense, I don't think.
It doesn't. It's too short of a contract in my mind, but
Yep.
I loved that resort. I had such a good time there. And actually, this is not a topic we're talking about today, but I don't know if you guys saw this, that they pretty much turned the check-in counter at Boardwalk into like a snack bar with like a popcorn machine.
It was the concierge, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like that little concierge area, yeah.
Yeah.
Which,
yeah,
I mean,
and some of the comments I saw about where people were kind of slamming on it, going, "Oh, now it's gonna smell like popcorn in here all the time," and it's like,
that's the theme of Boardwalk.
yeah, okay, like it's. I mean, I don't really spend a lot of time in the lobby of a hotel, anyways, so is it really ruining that much?
Amazingly enough, we spent a fair amount of time in that lobby last time because we ended up getting there, and I'm not a complainer, but we got there, and our room was, I don't even know what time we got there. It took a while for our room to get together, so we kind of were hanging out in the lobby, and the line was long at check-in. So, I mean, we spent, I don't know, at least a half an hour to an hour, somewhere in that range of kind of just hanging out in the lobby. So,
okay. But in the entire scope of your trip, though, that was...
Oh, I'm not complaining by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
No. I'm not a complainer in that. Listen, there's things in life you have to wait. Like, that's life. So, no, I wasn't complaining, but I'm saying if there's some sort of diversion in there, like, I'm okay with that.
Like a snack counter, yeah.
I'm okay with that, yeah.
Well, and I think the smell of popcorn adds to the theme, personally. I mean, it's a Boardwalk, right?
But that
food and stuff,
yeah, but you know what? Like, popcorn after a while can get a little, you know what I mean? I get that. Like, it can be a little nauseating after the fact.
I guess
unless they're going caramel popcorn, then that's a whole different. That's a whole different ballgame.
If you've ever worked at a movie theater, it's probably not something you want. So I can see that.
I hadn't thought of that, but that's a good point, Trevor. I mean, Boardwalk does have one of the cooler lobbies of any of the resorts I've stayed at. I mean, it's cool, but it's different than like a Wilderness Lodge where you walk in and it's like, Wilderness Lodge's lobby is huge and it goes
massive,
up so many stories. Yeah, that's cool and all, but when you go into Boardwalk, it's so heavily themed and you have like the carousel horses and it's just a cool theme. But anyway, that's totally off the topic. We didn't even have that on our list to talk about today. We brought up Boardwalk, so I wanted to mention that. It's kind of funny. So we've been talking pretty much every episode for the past, I don't know, I would say couple episodes about Club 33 coming to Disney World, and we actually have more details about that now. And this is according to WDW News Today, so I want to make sure I give them credit and also blame if this turns out to be wrong, because we have not seen any official announcements from Disney. So this is according to WDW News Today, who's usually pretty accurate. And what we have now is the actual benefits of the membership and what the costs are going to be. So basically what the initial price is rumored to be is $33,000, which when I first looked at it, I didn't realize the fact that it was $33,000 and it's Club 33. That took me a moment. I was assuming that was intentional. I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming it was, but it took me a second. So the initial price is $33,000, and it's important to note it's not $33,000 a person. That's the fee to join for your family. The annual membership fee is $15,000. But what the annual membership includes: access to all 4 Disney World Club 33 locations, and we've talked many times on the show about the rumored locations where these are going. It's not confirmed yet, but it's pretty much confirmed because there's Club 33 like Magic Band scanners showing up in the places that they've been rumored. So we can, those are pretty much confirmed places that they're going to be. And just for a recap really quick, at Epcot, it's at the American Adventure. At Magic Kingdom, it's over in Frontierland. And then in... not Frontierland, I'm sorry. It's
in Adventureland.
Adventureland, sorry.
Yeah.
It's at Adventureland. And then Hollywood Studios is going to be the former site of the Catwalk Bar, which is right by the Brown Derby. And then at Animal Kingdom, I believe it's rumored to be right by Tiffin's, if I'm remembering these things correctly. Yes. So all 4, you'll have access to all 4 of those lounges. It's rumored that it's just going to be drinks and small bites. Like, it's not going to be full meals like Club 33 in Disneyland. It's more going to be small, kind of things like appetizers and things like that. Some of the really interesting benefits, though, I thought, were a premier passport for the member, spouse, and any child under 26. So a Premier Passport, for those that don't know, is basically an annual pass for Disneyland and Disney World. So you're getting the ability to go to both places, which I thought was interesting that they're including that. That's like I think it's like $1,600 usually. So I mean that could end up being, you know, a pretty good value there. I mean I don't. It depends on how many people you have in your party. It doesn't say like, you know, limit of 4 children. Like if you have 10 kids, you know, probably be the best investment you could ever make, right? So Premier Passport for and under the age of 26, obviously. I thought this was interesting too. 50 one-day park hopper tickets a year. So I'm assuming the idea of that is bringing guests with you, right?
That's what I would think is, you hand them out to your friends, right?
Yeah, you give them to your friends. I don't know how they work that with magic bands and such, but still, that's pretty cool. 5-day-long VIP guided tours. Now, I don't know if those are like... Are those? I'm thinking those are the ones that where you see them walking around, where you usually pay them like an hourly rate, where they get you in front of all the lines and everything.
Yeah, it's the plaids.
The plaids, yes, the plaids.
Yeah. So those tours are usually pretty. I mean, they're expensive, and that's where they get you into different rides and whatever, like skip the line, but then also they give a bunch of history and backstory, and I believe some of them do some behind the scenes stuff as well too.
I think you're right about that. Yeah. And then you also get access to a private concierge service and a limited number of instant FastPass Plus reservations. So I'm guessing that means, you know, you could just immediately pick a FastPass.
Just walk on.
Yep. I mean, which is pretty much what the VIP guided tours are too, because you're just getting walked to the FastPass line. So
right, but there's only 5 of those, so
that's true. True.
So Tom, what did you say the Premier Passport?
It's basically It's an annual pass to Disney World and Disneyland, basically, and it's usually like $1,600. About, I think.
Okay, so $1,600
we're crunching
a person?
numbers here, right?
We're crunching numbers.
Yeah. So I mean, those 50 one-day park hoppers are about $8,500, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, if you just go on 1 days, right? Like, I mean, that's about $8,500. Yep. So I mean, is that $15,000 number really all that crazy?
I actually don't think it is.
For a year, yeah. It's
so you said it was $1,400. Let's say I got 5 people, right? So there's 6. I'm already at $15,000, and that's not even with my 5-day, long VIP tours and.
You're handing out all your park hoppers too, which I mean, I think there's.
Why would you save them?
Well, but not everybody's going to hand out
have that 50 many friends?
Park hoppers. Yeah,
if I have $33,000 to join, my guess is I probably have that many friends.
Yeah,
that's just a guess,
true.
though.
Yeah,
right. Or a soiree. I'd have an event. I could have a Disney event.
That's true. So the Premier Passport is $1,579 plus tax.
Yeah, I mean you're already over the top just with those if you have 5 people and the 50-day park hoppers.
Well, and plus those VIP tours, which are a couple $100 an hour, minimum of 8 hours, I think. So
wait, so the other question I've seen people like trying to you can't finagle I guess. It would be interesting. Could you pay for somebody? Could you pool your money and pay for one access and then have one person use the 50-day park hoppers? And I mean, right, that's $8,500. You could go splitsies with somebody if you really wanted to. I'm sure Disney doesn't want to hear that, but I mean, I guess you could.
I guess it depends on how they're going to work the 50-day fast pass. I mean, could you just assign them to somebody? I guess you could. I mean, the 50-day park hopper passes.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
I guess the thing with that is that, you could split with somebody to get the park hoppers, but that doesn't give you access to any of the other stuff on your own, right? So you would, if you wanted to actually make use of Club 33 or any of the other stuff,
those people just have to be there.
Yeah, so whoever you would go splits with, you would have to make sure that they're with you all the time.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I could see it only working if you had 2 people living in Florida going splitsies.
Exactly. And it is worth noting, too, that the Premier Passport also comes with PhotoPass downloads, so you get all your PhotoPasses.
That's it. Sign me up then. I didn't know that.
That's a big thing.
Wow.
Now I'm in.
You do get free parking.
You realize that you can get that with just an annual pass, right?
Of course.
Okay, that's what we're doing.
No, of course. I'm kidding. No, of course. Of course you can get that. But also, too, in Disney World, you get pretty much the same annual pass benefits, like as far as discount goes. So 10% on dining, 20% on merch, 15% on sports and recreation things. You can still save money on guided tours. So you still get all those kind of same benefits that you get with like an annual pass too. So I think you should factor those things into it, though. Those discounts mean something too, right? I mean, it's part of the math, right?
I don't know. No, not really. You got to
You
spend.
said you saved a lot of money last time using
I
the
did,
discounts,
but you
so.
have to spend to get those discounts, right?
That's
So
true.
you can't
That's
really
true.
factor it into the cost. You can factor
Right.
it into a savings,
The savings, that's what I mean, yes.
but that doesn't go towards the initial cost.
It just means you can spend more.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
just means you could spend more. I didn't see on here, I'm assuming that this is like, how does this work with, is this like a lifetime membership? I mean, what if...
As long as you keep paying your 15, I guess.
Yeah, right. I mean, if I die, can I pass this to my children like I can with DVC? I mean, like, how does that work? Probably not, right?
No, I would think that it's...
Again, my theory is that people that are joining are not so worried about passing it down to their kids. I don't think they're in that bracket of worrying in that regard. But I don't know. That would be an interesting question.
Yeah, and I mean, we've not seen any marketing materials about this, or
I mean, so hand it down to your kids. So you're talking a long time. I don't know. That would be interesting, though.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, is it a lifetime membership? My other question too is, and I'm assuming the answer to this is no. Does being a member of Club 33 at Disney Worlds give you access to Club 33 in Disneyland? My assumption would be no.
I would highly doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that being a problem with just capacity, but
Well, and the fact that Disneyland still has a wait list. So
fair point.
If you suddenly got into Disneyland when there was other people on the wait list, they would flip. So
That's that's fair.
I would assume no.
That one's a lot more exclusive. That one's a lot more. This one, it
Yes.
seems like they're appealing to everybody, right? Or they're trying to everybody that can afford it. Let's say.
Right. I think I saw a comment on Facebook where someone was saying, if you're living in Golden Oaks, this is probably a good deal for you, right? Because you're close enough, you can be there enough to make use of it.
But what are the benefits of Golden Oaks? Do they have their own set of benefits?
I don't know.
I want to say that Golden Oaks, they like part of, I don't know if this is part of like their HOA or something, but I believe that they do get passes in some way. I don't know if it's annual passes, or I know they have free transportation to the parks. I know that for sure. But hold on, let me see if I can find out.
Yeah, because again, does it, how does it cross over, right? What are the benefits there, and if they are, then does it make as much sense, right?
All I'm seeing membership extras, signature events, access to lounges. So they get to
Golden
go to
Oak member pass.
I don't see that. I could be looking in the wrong place.
It says
but-
it's been moved or no longer available.
What? You trying to look? I'm on their website right now.
Yeah, me too. I just clicked on the Golden Oak member pass.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Oh yeah, look at that. That's weird. Okay. Yeah, I'm not really sure about that because I mean I don't have like $3 million or $2 million to buy a house there.
There's $1 million houses there, I think.
I think there are. It's like the cheapest,
like an apartment.
1.2 or something like that.
Yeah, it's like an apartment or something.
Yeah.
A
So
little townhome for 1-2.
yeah, and there's also the Four Seasons are there too. So yeah. So anyway, but that that's a good question because they are marketing this initially to Golden Oak residents, right? And which makes sense because that's a target audience, I guess, for Club 33, right? But it sounds like you're doing the math, Damon, and you kind of feel like this might actually be worth it. Like if you were to want to invest.
If I live there, you know what I mean?
That's the thing, right?
If I lived there, or I was rich enough where I loved giving out passes to friends for nothing. I mean, I could handle everyone's birthday for the next year, but they still gotta get there.
That's true.
To me, this is again one of those like if I won the lottery, yeah, I would probably look into this.
There'd be no question. I would be a member. I'd actually be a member at the other one and never go too in Disneyland. Just to say, if I win the lottery, I'm bypassing a lot of lists.
This is going to sound really weird and bad, but I wonder how they're handling these passes because you could have like a little black market for your 50 one-day park hopper passes.
So if it's anything like they have in Disneyland, I remember a couple of years ago there was a guy that he got in trouble for selling his because at Disneyland it was the same thing. They can give out park hoppers and all that, and a guy was selling them on Craigslist. So he was a Club 33 member, and he was just getting people to pay him for day passes or whatever. And he got caught like 3 or 4 times, and then they revoked his membership. So,
ouch.
Yeah, I wouldn't. You would think after the first time he would have learned, but I guess he figured he was above that, and then Disney said no, and he got all upset about it. But
I feel like selling it on Craigslist is a dumb way to go, though. Like,
it
there's smarter
is.
ways to do it, right?
Apparently, the guy wasn't. He had more money than brains, is what I heard.
Oh, that's funny.
So the Golden Oak passes, again, I'm on Fox News, and this is just where they get 5 3-year annual passes. What does that mean?
I'm guessing that just means after you buy your house there that they give you 3 annual passes for
and
free
that's
for
it,
3
right?
years,
Then
and then that's it. You're done.
Okay.
So first 3 years, just keep moving around the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's not very golden of them.
That's a good idea, Trevor. I like that. You just keep upgrading your house, moving to a bigger one. Yeah,
It's just lateral moves, right? You don't have to buy a nicer one. You just keep shuffling around, and I'm sure that's totally worth it every 3 years.
They say they start at 1.8, so I think we're those
1.8 million. Is that what you're saying? Yeah,
yep.
Definitely got to win the lottery for that one.
Yeah, totally reasonable.
Yeah, totally reasonable. But it would be pretty cool to live on Disney property. That's, that would be pretty neat. But, we can all dream, right?
HOA dues, it looks like, are $25,000 a year. Just keep that in mind.
So more than Club 33 dues.
Yeah, there you go.
I feel there's probably more there that we don't know about, if that's the case.
I mean, there's got to be. What are you paying for?
Yeah.
I don't know, and I just pulled that random website, so, I mean, that could be...
Could be wrong.
Yeah, it could be. We tried to look on the Golden Oak website, but couldn't really find out a lot of information about it. But, it's interesting because when I first looked at this, I didn't think it was all that outrageous. I thought it was kind of, in a way, I mean, if you lived nearby, I could afford it, I would probably do it because I feel like it's definitely worth it based on all the things that you're getting with it. It seems like a pretty good deal, honestly. And maybe I'm way off on this, but just I kind of did the same math that you did, Damon, where I was thinking about like how much all these things cost in my head, and I was like, you know what? I think you could actually. It's possible to come out on top of that 15,000 a year dues. If you do all of the things that are included with this, I think you could probably definitely get your money's worth, I should say. But I don't know. What do you guys think? So we all said, basically if we hit the lottery, we'd do this. But, do you think this is going to be popular? I wonder.
Maybe. I mean, I can definitely see they're going to have enough people to keep these lounges busy for sure. Because like you said, the price point isn't totally outrageous, and I think part of it too is that. Again, looking at the demographics between Disneyland and Disney World is that Disneyland it's in the middle of a major metropolitan area. So the whole VIP thing it's a different clientele, I guess. It's a lot of, people that multimillionaires and all that go in there and expect a very exclusive thing. This, because it's in Disney World it's a huge tourist area. It's a very different set of people, although you still get those celebrities and those VIPs showing up there. I don't think they necessarily want to have a space that is exclusive only to like a very, very limited set of people. So yeah, it's far more reasonable, I think, than I was initially thinking it was going to be. And again, if I happen to come into some money, this is somewhere on my list.
Yeah, exactly. This is bucket list, right?
Yeah.
So this is one of the first things you do. And my wife always says if we ever won the lottery, the first thing we're doing is going to buy a house at Golden Oaks. So That's that's like the first thing after we get the check. It's like, all right, let's go look at houses at Golden Oaks. Honestly, if I were like a business owner in the Orlando area, I would get this as a business owner because to entertain clients and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You take the really good clients on the VIP tour days, or you give it to them as even if you don't take them, you just give it to them. I think that would be a really good thing. I feel like it's going to attract a lot of businesses, much like, sports arenas attract a lot of businesses for like skyboxes and things like that. I feel like it's almost similar to that. But
yeah, I agree. That does actually make a lot of sense.
Although, frankly, I'd rather spend $33,000 on buying points, personally. If I had $33,000 to spend, I'd probably buy points. But that's maybe just me.
Well, but once you have enough points...
That's true.
Well, think about it like this, too. The one thing, again, this is actually an interesting bit of DVC information, right? So let's just say you're not going to buy annual passes. Your hotel and your tickets, depending on how many people you have in your family, are about equal, right? So if you were to say you were going to get tickets, does it really matter, right? Like, I mean, you're saving the same kind of back and forth money. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. So to get the Club 33, you're getting the tickets free, right? So I mean, I got to go.
That's true.
I mean, I'm going in August for a week, and I'm still going to spend like $2,800 on tickets. I mean, I'm going to get annual passes, but it's still going to cost me $2,800. It's not like when you're DVC and you go, I'm just going to go hang out at Disney. Unless you're getting annual passes, you're not just hanging out at Disney with points. So that's where it becomes still a benefit to get free tickets as well as points, because then I could get my free tickets and stay wherever I want. Which is interesting because I think that August is going to be the first trip that I will not have to spend money except for food. I think that's going to be an interesting experience. I've never gone on annual passes and points at the same time and been like, oh, I don't have to pay for anything.
I'll let you know how that goes in May.
It is awesome to be able to go and be like, okay, my hotel's paid for, my tickets are paid for, all I'm paying for is food and whatever merchandise I buy, and just to get myself there, and that's it. And it's you can end up taking.
And when you drive, it's not bad at all.
No, it's definitely not. Definitely not.
And I mean, just the freedom of the fact that like when we arrive, we get there like 5:00 in the evening, kind of thing. Just being able to go into a park for like 2 hours when you get there, and not having to go, oh, well,
to do the math on it. Yeah. Like, is this even cost effective?
Yeah. Do I really want to do this? Because, this will cost me a lot of money. No, screw it. We're just going to go into the park. I don't care.
That is a great thing of the annual passes, to be able to do that, where you can just, it's like, let's go catch the fireworks, or, hey, I want to ride Big Thunder. Let's just go to Magic Kingdom for no reason. That's a great feeling to have when you have those annual passes. So.
Or those, you see that some of those vlogs do the 4 parks in one day thing, where they start like hit all 4 of the parks.
I've debated that.
Yeah,
I've debated that.
Came so close on a trip a couple years ago. I did 3 parks and we did like so many rides, and almost did the 4th, and we decided not to, and I'm kind of mad at myself. But I also don't know like what qualifies for the 4 park thing, right? Do you have to ride at least? You got to
ride a ride.
Yeah, it's just one.
It's not. You can't pull a Tom and treat it like this birthday 10 weeks later. Like you got to actually go in and ride a ride. Just stepping in the park does nothing.
I think there's a couple of different ways people swing it too. Is that sometimes it's they just go in, ride a ride, but then they're doing a lot of parks in a day. With that, like it actually expands outside of Disney.
I saw somebody do them all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait. Wasn't one closed though? I was watching one and one was closed. They tried to do Legoland and it was closed.
Yeah, that was Tim Tracker did that. They they got to Legoland and he thought it was open and it wasn't, so they had to.
It was open later than they thought, right? Something like that.
No, it wasn't open that day. He looked at the calendar and I guess he looked at the wrong day. And
that's funny. Yeah.
So whoops.
I mean, I think it's possible to do the 4 parks thing. You just got to be, like Damon, and I mean, I'm the same way, and I think you guys are too, Trevor, where you show up at rope drop and, you go hard on one park and then go to the next one and go to the next one.
I'm going to have to rope drop everything in August because I'm going to buy my season passes when I get there.
Oh, so you're not even going to schedule fast passes?
Nope. Now, I remember I have freebie fast passes, though. Remember.
Is it still from the cruise? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, they last until you go.
Is that what they said? Wow. They don't expire?
Oh, no, they don't expire. I just have to go. But again, they're minus a couple rides, So, but that's okay, because if I rope drop Pandora, then what else am I really worried about, right? I mean, everything else on the agenda, I mean, Soarin', I've been 8 million times, whatever, right? Like, I'm just going to kind of go in June, not let's really tackle anything. So, I mean, we just rope drop Pandora. I mean, I'll have...
And Toy Story.
Maybe Toy Story.
Probably not even. No, Fast Passes might not be available, right? But it doesn't even matter. I've been on that ride 8 million times, too, and I'm going back.
No, Toy Story Land.
I mean, the Land.
Oh, Land's not going to be open. We're going in June. In the beginning of June. It's not going to be open.
Beginning of June? Oh, then, yeah.
Wait, hold on. Let me look at the calendar here. I thought we were going earlier than I thought. So we may be going the 18th week, but it's not open yet. It's not open the next week.
I mean, you might get a member preview, though. I mean...
Yeah, there's soft openings.
That's right. That's right around the time that they would do a DVC member preview, I feel like.
I'm going back in, what's it called anyway, in August, specifically for it. Now, that would be interesting, because if I happen to go... Will that change my August plans? I think it will. So if for some reason I get in, actually I may start asking around to try to see what's going on, asking some contacts, because if I could get in on something like that, then yeah, maybe. Because when does it actually officially open? What's the date again?
Like last day of June, I think.
Yeah, I think it's like June 30th, I want to say, but let me Google really quickly here.
Well, anyway, so I'll have to see, but that could throw my August plans into disarray. Actually, that would throw a lot. So this is an interesting thing. That would throw a lot of plans into disarray, because would I cancel my August trip? No, because I'll have season passes already. Because I won't know at that point when I'll buy my season pass. I won't know if I can get into Toy Story Land. So I'll probably still go. But there is
June 30th. It is June 30th, by the way. So.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I guess it's debatable. I got to ride Star Wars 2 weeks early, so I mean that is debatable.
What you need to do is get some press credentials. And then maybe you can get into the press event. I have press
credentials already, so that's easy enough for me.
Well, then we need a report.
Is there a press event that week?
I would think there. I mean, I don't know if it's that week, but usually like a week or two before they do it.
We're not going to hear anything until probably May before we know any of the dates.
Yeah, so once they officially release the press information, I will then make some calls. I only know people in the television and movie end, though. I don't know what they don't have too much sway at the park level, to be honest with you. So I'll have to see, but I will ask.
Well, Disney's such a large company. I'm sure it's probably hard to make that kind of stuff happen. So
well, it was funny. Last time I asked one of the marketing people, but she was like, "I do online marketing. I don't do park marketing." Oh, okay, I get it. They still got us in anyway, though, because they were super nice. But that being said, yeah, I'll have to see, because the big question that I have for the audience, again, I don't know, people in Florida hopefully will be able to answer this. It's a non-Disney question. But for our Disney trip in August, I am going to be hitting one of the non-Disney water parks. I have done the Disney water parks way too many times. I want to try something new. Is it Aquatica or is it Volcano Bay? So if anybody knows out there, that's the question for this episode. What they prefer. Because these guys on the call right now with us, they don't know about either one of those. So
I only know from what I've seen of other people. And yeah, people seem to like Volcano Bay, but you're right. Aquatica is supposed to be a pretty amazing park as well.
Yep.
From what I've seen, Volcano Bay is really nice, but I've also seen that their like new waitlist line thing is kind of a disaster so far.
I heard they've been kind of busy. That's the word around town, is they've been kind of busy. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. It's just and it's funny because when they released that, I was like, that seems like it could go really wrong if you get really busy.
Yes,
and
they've been pretty busy.
Yeah, it does look cool though. I mean, when last time we went to Disney, we drove by it and you can see it from the road, and it looks really cool from the road for sure. But I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question though. Listeners, weigh in. Let us know on our Facebook page. Cool. Anything else we want to? We were talking about Club 33 a while ago.
Remember that?
Yeah,
remember that.
But
you know what though? It's only fitting for our 1 year anniversary show that we go off on a ridiculous tangent. So I'm okay with it.
Let's do another one, because I'm sure this next subject is going to result in a tangent as well.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You think it will? I don't know.
Well, okay. This is super nerdy for me, so I love this stuff.
Me too. Me too. Go ahead, Trevor. You want to read it?
Yeah. So first images were released of the Millennium Falcon ride with the tech specs. So Walt Disney Imagineering teamed up with NVIDIA and Epic Games to develop a new technology to drive the attraction. When it launches, riders will enter a cockpit powered with a single box, spelled BOXX chassis packed with 8 high-end NVIDIA Quattro P6000 GPUs connected via Quadro SLI. So for those that, if that sounds like another language to anybody else, basically these boxes are going to have a whole bunch of graphics cards in them that are powering the ride. And they actually sat down and specifically talked with one of the major developers of graphics cards, NVIDIA, and Epic Games. Epic Games is responsible for
Unreal.
The Unreal Engine, which Unreal Engine runs like a vast amount of video games out there right now, which means anything you've seen out there that looks really, really nice is probably running in Unreal, and it's awesome.
The new Far Cry 5 is running it, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So, and so the thing about this, I was reading the details on this, is that basically the Imagineering went and did their own custom build of it and then gave it back to Epic, and then Epic tweaked it for them so that it runs the Millennium Falcon like super high quality, super fast. Everything is supposed to look really, really slick with this. So I love that they're doing this.
I mean, it sounds cool, right? But again, I always look at it like this, and I told you guys I felt the same way about Flight of Passage. Am I going to Dave & Buster's or am I going to Disney?
Right.
Man, I don't know. Sometimes some of these things kind of like... So I like... This is what I feel about, right? The Void sounds awesome, right? Can't wait to go. That's in Disney Springs for everyone, right? I'm cool with that. And that's in Disney Springs. I don't know. I'm hoping this is a ride and not an experience, if that makes sense. I don't know. I'm using those words how I want to use them, right? I guess you could flip it the exact opposite of what I'm saying for a totally different meaning. But I want there to be, a nice ride to go along with this technology that they're pushing, right? Because again, I could stay home, put on a headset, and I guess I could probably get somewhere close to this in probably a year from now. Maybe not now, right? Because they're using top-end stuff that maybe I can't go to Newegg and get, right? But in a year from now, I may be able to get something pretty close to this. So I hope it's a great ride.
And so for me, the way I look at this is going to be like Star Tours on steroids, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, if you look at the technology that they used in Star Tours, and then look at how far they've come just with Pandora, and then this is supposed to be, another step up. And I know the simulator rides are a bit of a sticky point because, yeah, they're not. I know they're like you're sitting in a box and it's moving, and it's not. You're not really going anywhere. It's all simulated. In this particular case, again, going back to what I say about storytelling and all that, I feel that this is going to be really great from a storytelling standpoint. And yeah, I do hope, Damon, that this ride feels right. Like it doesn't. I don't want it to necessarily feel like I'm on Star Tours because Star Tours feels dated, I guess. Like that technology has been around since the early 90s. Was that? I don't even remember when they put it in.
It's been around for a while, for sure.
Yeah. But like I said, as far as everything that's going into this, the fact that they're dealing with some of the biggest technology wizards in the world to make sure that they get this right, it gives me a lot of hope for it. And actually, I guess, so Damon, Flight of Passage, do you consider that a good ride or no? Okay.
I know we spoke about this prior, but to bring everyone kind of up to date, I find it very video game-ish. And again, it was okay. I was not on board with it like everyone else was because, again, I feel like with enough money and some sort of scent diffuser and a little spray bottle, I can get close enough with that experience. These bladders puffing in and out, like, okay, that's not the end-all, be-all, right? So outside of that, I can get pretty close to the headset. I feel like close enough that I don't need to travel to Disney, but that's just my personal opinion. I didn't even think the graphics were all that good. To tell you the truth.
Every time you mention this, I just imagine like your kids standing around you with like a fan and a spray bottle as you're like, I'm going to Pandora. They're spraying you with water.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty close to what you could do. I don't know. I mean, I was expecting to be blown away more graphically by Pandora. It didn't. You know what? Again, what I kind of expect, and what I'm expecting, and it's just not there yet, is that I expect to like think it's real, not like kind of computer generated real, but like real. And we're just not there yet, right? And that's where I kind of have a problem with Pandora, is that it felt like CGI, right? Which is okay because the movie's CGI.
Sure.
But that's not what I wanted. I wanted to feel like, oh, I'm there. Oh, I'm there. Not CGI there.
Okay, so I guess the thing is you're going to fall into that same trap with Star Wars as well, right? Because Star Wars is very CGI heavy. So I can't see them.
Is it though?
Unless you're flying through the trees and you get hit in the face with a branch, like.
I guess what I'm saying is that when
there would be no guest complaints for that.
Yeah, no guest complaints. When I watch Star Wars, there are some scenes that there's CGI in, but you feel like that's a real whatever. I don't even know what we want to say, right? That's a real whatever. It feels like it's real when you're watching the movie. Sure. Feels like that's a real X-Wing. That does not feel like it is a CGI stupid flying dragon or whatever that thing is in Pandora, right? Like, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like it's real. And I think that's where I have the problem with the Pandora ride, is that it's just not there yet. It's close, but it's not there yet. And maybe Millennium Falcon will be there, but then again, when they get close enough, I feel like I can spend enough money to do that at home.
But I feel like that's the whole point of this technology, right? Is to get us there, right? To get it to be that it's so lifelike,
That's what I'm saying, right? Is that to me is not a ride. Rock and Roller Coaster is a ride. That's not a ride. That's an experience. And to me, Universal does it too, right? With King Kong, right? Everyone's all hyped up for King Kong. King Kong is a bunch of screens. Right, that's it.
A bunch of screens
rolling through a bunch of screens. I want the ride, and that's what I miss as we kind of introduce these new things. But then again, they get that wrong sometimes too, because dumb Slinky ride is going to be a ride, and it's going to still be dumb. So I don't know.
Well, I guess we'll have to see how the Mickey Mouse ride pans out as well, right?
That's true,
that one's going to be interesting though, because again, you're not
both,
trying
right?
to. Yes, you're not trying to push a false reality, right? What you're saying is that, hey, this is cartoons. We know it's cartoons, and we're going to give you a little bit of a ride, a little bit of cartoons. That I can get on board with. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I have some. I think walking through the Imagineer design of the Millennium Falcon ride is going to be pretty cool, but we'll see how it goes.
So I guess my only thought on this is, so going back to Pandora, is that Flight of Passage is, I mean, that whole world's supposed to be organic, right? It's supposed to be another world, and it's supposed to be all,
sure,
animals, which
Yep.
I think maybe that's the sticking point, is that you're right, is that, CGI doing animal life, it always looks CG. It always looks very fake.
I wasn't on board with the forest, though, either. I'll be honest with you.
But then flip that over to Star Wars. Star Wars is very machine, mechanical.
Industrial.
I think that maybe that will sell it a little better, because, like I said, even going back to Star Tours, is that, you're watching ships fly through space. And I'm assuming with the Millennium Falcon, we're going to be flying through space. So
show me trees that look like trees.
Right.
And I'm good with that, barring everything else. Like, I'm an old school fractal generator sort of mountain-esque sort of guy, right? Like, so I need trees that look like trees. And I think that's, like, again, Pandora, like the water and the trees, no, not so much. Didn't do it for me. So I think that based on the specs that they're shown, we're going to be a lot closer. But again, I hope that there's a lot more than throwing on a headset and sitting down. I hope there's more of an experience to go along with it that, makes it feel worthwhile.
So the other thing with this too is that, so the last part on the description is, so the Quattro Sync, it synchronizes 5 projectors, which is fine because they call it Quadro, but they're synchronizing 5 projectors.
That is odd, isn't it?
Yeah. It's used for creating a dazzling, ultra-high resolution, perfectly timed display to fully immerse the riders in the world of the planet Batuu. So Batuu is what's it called? Galaxy's Edge? I keep wanting to call it Star Wars Land, but
it's called Star Wars Land.
Yeah.
Officially.
So Star Wars Land is Batuu. So it's
Wait. I have a quick question. Is it Quattro or Quadro?
It's Quadro.
Okay, so
QUAD.
Quadro, yeah, that's just it's a brand of graphics cards,
Right,
So it has nothing to do with the 5 screens.
But quad usually is 4, right?
Correct, because it's the GPU chip design on the Quad.
Yeah,
graphics
I know. It's just funny that the disconnect there to me is a bit amusing.
We didn't get on a tangent at all on this.
No, not at all.
We're talking about video cards, and that's not tangent because it's run with video cards.
I know. I'm kidding.
Hey, I didn't even get into Bitcoin mining. We're not going to go there. So,
Well, that's how we could all afford Club 33.
That's right.
so riding the Millennium Falcon while we're mining our Bitcoins.
Can you imagine if they did Bitcoin mining off the GPUs they're going to have on this thing?
I think that's what Trevor was saying, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like so, all the ones that are not running at that time, that's what they're doing.
That's at night when the
That would
ride
be
shut
awesome.
down, they're just going to be Bitcoin mining.
Sorry, we're real close this morning, but we can't get Millennium Falcon up and running. It's going to be another hour.
Yeah, we need to make some more Bitcoins. Anyway, sorry, what were you going to say, Trevor?
So I was going to say, so Batu is very similar to Endor, I guess. It's supposed to be,
Trees. I like trees.
that foresty, like large redwood type trees and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm hoping that the ride makes sense, and you're right that it doesn't feel like you're disconnected. Like it should feel like you just flew around Star Wars land, not that you went somewhere else or, sat in a room and then you came back outside. Like, you're right. It should feel, there shouldn't be any obvious disconnect between being in the ride and being in Star Wars land. And I hope that they get it right.
Well, at least they had a test run with Pandora, right? I feel like that was a good test run.
Yeah.
Think about Pandora in 2 years from now, right? So we look at how things, computer-wise and graphically just continue just to, get cooler and cooler and better. I feel like we're going to look at Pandora and even like 2 years from now and go, that's horrible. What did they do over there? That's bad.
And that's the challenge of theme park designers now, right?
No, I don't think it is, because if you give me again, Ellen, I love you, but if you give me a roller coaster, even though it's dumb Guardians of the Galaxy, I can ride rock and roller coaster. Even better example. I'm good with riding rock and roller coaster. How many years? When did that actually come out? I feel like a while ago.
Oh, geez.
It's been around for a while.
2001, something like that.
Exactly, and that's still awesome. I never go, oh man, rock and roller coaster sucks. I go, rock and roller coaster is the jam. Like when are we going on that? Like I'm trying to get my daughter to finally ride it at age 8. Like I'm looking forward to that.
July 1999 is when that opened.
Yeah, see, and I'm not hating on that, and that's a long time ago.
And
I feel like Pandora and any of those rides, King Kong, Pandora, it doesn't matter what park we're talking about, it does get long in the tooth quick.
All right, well, let's move on from Star Wars then. We'll start talking about Toy Story Land. How about that?
Sure.
So there's a couple... Sure, why not? There's a couple things on here, and a lot of this is kind of so what news, but I think it's interesting to talk about. I saw this first thing, and I was like, oh, well, duh. Toy Story Land's going to feature character greetings from Woody, Buzz, and Jessie.
Who knew?
Shocking. Who saw that coming? I don't even know why this was news. It's kind of surprising to me that it's news. Now, I will say Jessie you do not see often in the parks anymore. So that is good. But the one thing I did notice about this announcement that I did think was interesting, and it does excite me, is that it doesn't seem like they're going to be at designated character spots. It kind of seems like they're going to be wandering.
That's what it sounds like.
You really think so?
To encounter. It says you'll have a chance to encounter. And that's from the Disney Park site. That's not from like
a blog
somewhere
or something.
Else. Yeah.
And it literally says you'll be able to meet them throughout the park. So in my mind, that means it's not like a designated character greeting. I don't know.
Or I read that as don't expect that you're going to get in line for this.
Yeah. Right. Well, it does ruin the immersion, right? If they're just, oh, look, Woody's standing over there and there's a line and there's, a cast member standing there,
But they're not going to be able to have them just be walking around and think they're going to get away with that when 8 million kids want to take pictures with them. So I don't know how that's going to go either.
Well,
good question.
But I mean, in Disneyland, they do that. Like Alice and Mad Hatter wander around, Mary Poppins and Bert, Peter Pan.
And how do people get pictures, or do the handlers just deny pictures?
Well, they'll stop. So like they'll stop and they'll talk with people. But then a lot of times is like if if they need to go somewhere, they'll kind of, wave and just keep walking. So, and yeah, there is always a handler nearby. So, I mean, I can see them doing this. The only difference is that all the characters at Disneyland are, they're face characters, which means they're not mascots. They're like, you can actually see the person's face and everything. So with those ones, I think they can move around a lot easier because they can actually see what's going on around them. To have mascot type characters like Buzz, Woody, and Jessie walking around, I can see some problems with that. And yeah, especially, like you said, kids wanting to run up, get pictures, all that kind of stuff. So,
it's funny. I brought this story up to my wife, and I'm like, I don't even know if I want to talk about this on the show because it's such a duh thing. But at the same time, when I read that it said throughout the park, I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. And then I was like, but they don't really do that anymore. And she goes, well, no, they do with the stormtroopers. And I was like,
that's
you
true.
know what? They kind of do. And that works.
And the Jawas.
Yeah.
But stormtroopers aren't Buzz.
That's that's true. It's not the same amount of celebrity, I guess, right?
Yeah, but my kid still wanted to be right in there with the stormtroopers when he saw them.
Of course. But the other thing with them, too, is you can have 8 million stormtroopers.
Right.
You can't have Buzz running into Buzz.
That's true.
Stormtrooper can run into another stormtrooper. That's okay.
Well, you could have Buzz running into Buzz because you could have Spanish version of Buzz along with...
Hey, yeah, they're toys. So you could have multiple versions because there could be more than one...
Woody is way too rare for that.
That's true.
In the toy world.
Buzz is not, though.
Buzz is not.
Yeah.
You could have a bunch of Buzzes. That would be interesting.
And just one Jessie and one Woody.
But each Buzz, there'd be like a bunch of stupid Buzzes, and then only one really Buzz, right? At the end of the day, right? Because aren't the rest of Buzzes stupid Buzz?
I don't want to go to new Buzz with the cool belt on him. I want to go to old original Buzz.
No, I don't think. I think that Buzz only knows he's not like that. He's a toy because he's their Buzz. I think that Buzz out of the store, out of the pack, doesn't know nothing, right? He doesn't know that he's a toy, right? There's a lot going on there, right? Toy Story is a lot deeper than you think.
It's very complex. And it was only because he saw the commercial. It was because he saw the commercial that he realized he's a toy.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Woody told him anyway, didn't he, though?
Well, he was in denial up until he saw the commercial at what?
Alice Toy Barn? No.
No, what's the name of the kid? The kid next
Andy?
door.
Well, no, technically it was Al Toys
Scud?
Barn, but it was he saw it. Scud was the dog.
Sid.
Yeah,
Sid.
Sid. Yeah.
Yeah, the dog's name was Scud.
I have to revoke your Toy Story pass there, Trevor.
I know it began with an S. I always confuse the two.
You were close. You were definitely close.
Can I say this is going to sound bad. Buzz, Woody, and Jessie are great. I would love to meet like offbeat characters there. Like I'd love to meet Wheezy. I'd like to meet like Ham. Yeah. Like,
no, Lotso would be scary. You can't meet Lotso.
They do have meet and greets for Lotso. He's been out at the Halloween parties.
Might stab you. I mean, I feel like probably they kill you.
They ignore that part.
You forget about the evil part.
Yeah.
I think Wheezy is going to be in one of the rides. I think we'll see Wheezy in one of the rides.
Some of those offbeat characters, I feel like they'd be fun to meet. Like Ham would be fun. Like Rex would be fun to meet. Like who wouldn't want a picture with Rex? Everyone would want a picture with Rex.
But see, I think the other problem that you run into when you have such an iconic person doing the voiceover, right? You got to make sure you got all that together. So how do they handle Buzz and Woody now? Do they talk?
No, they don't.
Well, they don't.
And you have to do the same thing. And if you don't have Wheezy wheezing, I mean, is he really wheezing?
I honestly think that the whole talking thing is kind of backfiring on them. It's just it's too hard for them to maintain, right? So
no, you can't talk. Don't talk.
Yep. Even if you go on Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin and you listen carefully to the animatronic Buzz talking there, that is absolutely not Tim Allen's voice. It is the backup Buzz that's doing the voice. You can tell.
Well, they did a panel on this a couple of years ago at D23 where they had, they do have a lot of in-house voice actors and people that they've hired over the years that are voice doubles. So even like the guy, so Indiana Jones on the ride. So Sala, his friend, is supposed to be doing all of the communicating over the radio, but it's not the same actor who was in the movie. Same thing with, pretty much every theme park experience is not the original actor, barring like one or two, I think.
Yeah. Sorry to ruin that for everybody.
But it's interesting because they get some really good voice actors, and sometimes, yeah, like on Buzz, it doesn't work. But then there's other ones where you can't really tell the difference. So,
well, I think Tom Hanks' brother does the voice of Woody.
Yep.
He's like the backup Woody. Is Tom Hanks' brother?
He does all the toys and stuff like that.
Oh,
so.
he's the one from wait, his brother?
Yep.
Is that?
Yeah, it's
or
his brother,
son.
yeah.
Oh, it's his brother.
It's his
yeah,
brother.
It's his brother.
Okay.
Which is pretty funny that he does all the backup voices.
And I know Alan Tudyk actually did a lot, but Alan Tudyk's become pretty big on his own now anyway. But
That's true.
He did a lot of voice work.
So we're not meeting Trevor's demands of trying to get out of here early.
Okay, yeah, let's continue. I'm sorry.
We're okay.
It's funny. I'm glad we brought this topic up because it brought up a lot of other things. So it's an interesting topic. But a couple other Toy Story things really quickly. So Toy Story Mania is actually going to be not closed, but it's closed for Fast Passes. So
yeah.
There will be no Fast Passes between April 9th and May 7th.
And that is a lie.
What's that?
So they said they're supposed to open up May 7th, and the entire week that I am there, which is from like May 5th to May 12th, I cannot book any Fast Passes.
Oh.
So even after May 7th, I've been checking it quite regularly, and they're still not available. Maybe it'll change here in the next couple of weeks.
How good are you? That's the question. How good are you at the ride?
Not very good because I haven't played it enough.
You can just then you can just skip it. Don't worry.
It
doesn't even matter.
But we still want to do it because there's not much else to do there. So
there's not much else to do at home.
We get like legit with our family. Like we'll start stretching. Like we'll be in line stretching, like stretching our forearm, and stretching your forearm, making sure that you had enough to drink, so that like you don't tire out and start getting that lactic acid build up in your forearm, because you don't want that when you're on Toy Story Mania. Like we're legit, like we put together some real family things on the line for that ride.
Well, who's the champion on your family then? I'm sorry, Trevor. I apologize.
Dude, the thing is, I'm old now. That's the problem. I can't. The stamina's just not there. I feel like skill-wise, maybe I can hang with the boys, but my son that's now 14. I want to say when we went last year he was 13. Dude, he could play that ride 10 times in a row, and like, this is a family-friendly show, but like he can play that ride 10 times in a row, and he has no forearm issues. Mine start to get like pretty tired, and I can't even towards the end of the ride. It's a little rough. So,
and you see,
he is champion.
In my family, I'm still high score, but that comes from years of playing competitive Mario Party with my brother. So that does actually.
Once you get a little older, it's gonna go downhill for you, Trevor.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Well, I'm approaching 40, but I can still hold my own. So we'll see how. It'll be the same thing. Is give my son a couple of years. We'll see how I do. But for now, I'm still.
I feel like Mario Party though. There's no tangent at all here, but Mario Party, like I'm still really good at that because those are limited like to like a 30-second, maybe a 45-second. Then there's a little break. Like cool with that. Toy Story Mania, there's really no break. Like you're on that thing. It's unrelenting. You're absolutely right. It's unrelenting.
But it's learning just to, like the button mashing games are what helps me stay used to it because it's keeping that rapid fire motion going, right?
It goes away in a couple years, Trevor. I'm sorry to tell you that. I'm sorry to be the one that tells you, but
I'm not accepting
I'm a video game person and a big time gamer, and it starts to go away. So you have to get smart, right? So now you have to start memorizing all the cool things you can do in Toy Story Mania, and for all the special things, and you have to have them because my kids are like, whatever, Dad, I'll just beat you on pure strength. So you start to go, wait a second, if I hit that plate, followed by that other plate, by the jumping plate, and then hit the dinosaur on the right, and then the lava comes, and I'm good.
Yeah.
Strategy.
Yes. Yeah, well, you have to know the combos. I mean, absolutely. You got to know all the high scores.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do to win. Yeah, and it's such a tangent, but I love it. So part of the reason why, part of the reason why they're doing this, in case you don't know, they are moving the entrance of Toy Story Mania to the other side of the building. So the whole other side where Toy Story Land is going to be, that's where the entrance is now going to be. And I don't know what's going to happen to the current entrance because it seems like they're going to shut that whole courtyard down. Seems like you're not even going to be able to access that area at all. Who knows though?
I felt like that area was always a mess anyway.
It is kind of. It's just there's nothing there.
It's very confusing.
Because it's a skinny road. There's a lot of stores. There's special popcorn, right? Like the special popcorn blows that whole street up because it's too much going on. And then the stroller parking is just not appropriate, and it's a disaster. So I'm A-okay with that totally changing.
You know what I noticed too in that announcement about the characters? They didn't say anything about the Army Men, which are a staple of that area. And my hope now is that those Army guys are just walking around throughout Toy Story Land, kind of like the Stormtroopers are, just kind of randomly walking around.
So I have to say, the last 2 times I was there, I don't feel like there was as many Army Men, unfortunately. Nor did they do as much. I mean, again, you guys, I don't know when you were there, right? We go to every opening, right? So we were there during the first, when that Toy Story Mania opened, and I mean, just the cool things that happened, like, you know, again, I'm sure they still do them, but like the push-up contests, I don't know if they do those anymore. Man, those were great, right? Those were absolutely wonderful. The Army Men did those, and then, you know, all that sort of neat stuff. I just don't remember seeing as many Army Men, nor them stopping to challenge kids to push-up contests. I don't know. I always thought that was neat.
Maybe that'll all come back. Who knows?
Dude, and those dudes would, like, you could be, like, 'cause my son was pretty good. Like, he banged out 40, and that dude was, like, at 55 laughing. Like, you know, you couldn't really see him laughing, but you could tell he was laughing. Oh, wow. He's like, dude, you think you got me? I got 55 of these. And he gets up and does them again. Like, those guys have to be in ridiculous shape, you know, because, again, that's a lot of push-ups. That's a lot of push-ups.
I'd die after about 2. So...
And, you know, actually, now that you're mentioning it, when we were there on our last trip, we didn't see the Army Men once, but we saw Stormtroopers multiple times. So, yeah, I feel there's definitely been a shift in just the wandering around characters.
You don't have to do push-ups if you're a Stormtrooper.
That's true.
Right? You just have to press a button that says, take them to jail.
Yep.
All right, well, let's move on from this. And I know this says Disneyland news, so Damon, don't get
I'm just going on mute.
No, don't tune out. No, this is cool. So, right after we did our last show, like a day or 2 later, Disney, I mean, this was already announced pretty much, but Disney announced some more details about the Marvel Land, let's call it that for now, expansion that will be happening at California Adventure. You know, obviously this is going to be centered around, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. And so it's going to be in that area. An unfortunate loss there is the Bugs Land that's there. And obviously I've never been to Disneyland.
It's not much of a loss.
It's not much of a loss. No. And that's what I've heard. You know,
was it the same as like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids area?
Yeah, except there wasn't any actual playground. It was just, there was...
It's like a train there, right?
There was 3 rides in there. There was Heimlich's Choo Choo Train, the Ladybug bumper cars, or no, Ladybug Spin, bumper cars, and then Flick's Flyers, which is basically like Dumbo. And
okay,
yeah, I mean,
not much of a loss.
No,
that's what you're saying.
And it was such a weird spot too, because it's crammed. It was the connector between the Buena Vista Street and Cars Land. So and it was sandwiched like right in the middle. And so now Buena Vista Street is part of it's being changed from that into Marvel Land, like because that's where Tower of Terror is at the end of Buena Vista Street. That's going to be, or that's already Guardians of the Galaxy now. And so it makes sense that whole area next to it is now going to be turned into Marvel Land. And like I said, honestly, when I went there, it didn't, nothing there was really that interesting. Like Bugs Land was always, it was somewhere we went when we just didn't want to be anywhere else, like, if that makes sense. Like it was like the last place you really wanted to go. And I get like some people complain because, oh, you know, that was kind of like, you know, where the kids' rides were and everything, which I mean,
there's plenty of other things that kids can ride at Disneyland.
Yeah, but people get hung up on the height requirements, you know, for really young kids, and they're like, well, you know, what else are they going to ride? And it's like, there's still like Little Mermaid. You can still go in Redwood Creek Run if you really want somewhere to let your kids burn off some steam, because it's like a hiking trail with rope courses and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, honestly, I don't feel like they lost much with that area. And I'm sure someone's going to hate me for saying that.
Probably. I actually see on one of the Disney groups all the time that somebody keeps posting a petition to save Bugs Land, but I don't think it's going to happen. But what I found the most interesting about this is a couple episodes ago, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 episodes ago, we talked about a patent that Disney filed about a ride where you are basically hung from you're sitting in a seat that's hung from the ceiling, where it's like a pendulum and it swings back and forth as you go through like a city. And they specifically mentioned in the patent something about, maybe a Tarzan or a Spider-Man ride. Well, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but on the poster and in the announcement for Marvel Land, they very much highlighted Spider-Man. And my thought is we're going to see that ride. Like, that's just what I'm thinking. They haven't said what the other rides are going to be, but I think the most interesting part of this is if they do end up using that patent, I think this could be really cool if they make a Spider-Man ride like that.
And
it just makes sense, right?
Yeah, and I mean, that'll be huge. If they do a Spider-Man ride, unfortunately, until they get everything sorted out with Universal on the East Coast, that'll be, it'll be on the same level as Indiana Jones. Because when you go to Disneyland, Indiana Jones is a reason to go there, because there is Dinosaur in Animal Kingdom, but Dinosaur cannot hold a candle to Indiana Jones, even though it's the same type of ride, and even though it's the same track layout and everything. Indiana Jones is just a way, way better themed ride, and I feel this will be the same thing with Spider-Man. Is that having Spider-Man as the main attraction of one of the rides there, I mean, it's just going to be huge. That whole area will go nuts.
Especially with such a unique ride like that. I mean, I just think it would be so cool to be able to ride something like that where you're swinging back and forth on like your Spider-Man basically.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that, so I think that would be amazing.
And it'll be a reason to go back to Disneyland for me. So.
And a reason for me to go there. So yep. I don't need a reason for that. I want to go anyway. But maybe
as it stands right now, they already have Cars Land, which is fantastic. They just finished redoing Paradise Pier into Pixar Pier, so now you've got everything Pixar over there. So let's throw Marvel in, right? Like,
yeah,
it's
California Adventure is just basically intellectual property park, right?
Yeah, and that's fine because it's been that for a while.
Yeah, exactly. The other cool piece of news I saw for Disneyland too was that, and I don't know a lot about this restaurant, but from what I've read, it seems to be like a hated place at Disneyland. Like it's got the worst food or something.
It's pretty bad. Yeah.
So they're going to change Red Rocket's Pizza Port to transform into Pizza Planet as part of Pixar Fest. And I don't know if they're actually going to make this into like a recreation of Pizza Planet, because we all saw how that went in Disney World, which was kind of the most disappointing thing ever when you go in there and you're like, oh, I thought this was going to be exactly like Pizza Planet, and it's not at all.
Yeah, it was kind of a letdown. But
I'm hoping that they remedy that with this. But I don't see them doing a temporary. They're saying it's temporary, and I can't imagine they're going to go crazy for something that's temporary. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny that restaurant. It for the longest time, I think and a lot of people thought this is that it was Pizza Planet already, because it has the Red Rocket on top of it, and so the whole reason that it was called Red Rockets was that it's actually in the spot where a previous attraction called Mission to Mars was, and it had the rocket there. So they made the pizza place as a kind of a tribute to that. But my thing is that anytime I've ever gotten pizza in the parks, it's like on my level of pizza that I'll eat, it's at
towards the bottom.
I'll eat Little Caesars before I'll eat this.
I love Little Caesars.
But Little Caesars is like they got the cheap they do like
garbage pizza, but it's delicious.
Yeah, it's like the $5 pizzas, right? But you still feel okay about eating it. This stuff is you pay more than that and you get a worse pizza. So it's like, yeah, I've never been thrilled with it, and it's always been whenever we've been in Tomorrowland and Disneyland and we're looking for somewhere to eat, because the thing is that they don't have the lunching pad, which is in Disney World is like another quick service. This is supposed to be their quick service. So it's the only place in Tomorrowland, and it's like in the far back corner next to Space Mountain. So if you want to like if you're kind of there and you're stuck and you have to eat something, you're like, it's like, fine, I guess, because you just don't want to walk halfway across the park to find something else.
I getcha.
Yeah.
I getcha. Okay. Well, I'm hoping that they do something really cool, but I mean, if it's just going to be the outside of it, then it's not that fun.
Yeah, I'm not expecting any major improvements to this myself.
All
so
right. Okay, well, that's good to know from a Disneyland expert.
yeah,
So.
and actually, now that I think about it, there is another quick service in Tomorrowland. Now, I'm just going through the map in my head here real quick. So there is another quick service. It's just a walk-up like burger place, and I think even like that burger place used to be really bad, but they've even improved that. So maybe this will get the same treatment where they actually upgrade the menu and make it somewhere that you want to eat.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Yeah.
So, do you have a traveling with Trevor for us this week?
Yeah, I do.
One?
Yeah. So yeah,
We're running out of time. So
yeah. No, we'll cover this quick. So at this point, leading up to my trip, I'm waiting for luggage tags. But the funny thing is so traveling internationally, when you book through Magical Express, you get luggage tags. And last time I went on my trip, I was really excited for this, but I discovered that luggage tags are actually not necessarily the best thing for you. And again, depending on how you're traveling. So the idea is that you put these tags on when you get on the plane. Instead of going to pick up your bags, they ship your bags straight to the resort. It sounds all fine and good, except that we found this out the hard way on our last trip, is that from the time it takes for you to get off the plane, get on the Magical Express, and get to your resort, your bags can show up anywhere 4 to 6 hours later. And sometimes they show up quickly. Again, it all depends on logistics and which resort you're staying at and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes they show up relatively quick, but again, traveling internationally, we've got our carry-on bag, which for myself, I don't pack a lot of stuff in my carry-on bag. And when we got there, we realized that all the stuff that we actually needed to go out and if we wanted to go to the park or whatever, we didn't have any of the stuff that we would normally take with us into the park. So we ended up having to wait for our bags, which took like 2 hours, I think, before our bags showed up. So it was just, sitting around the resort waiting and all that kind of stuff. So, so I guess for anyone that is traveling internationally or even just getting on a plane, you got to think about these things. So it's either two plans of action. Is one, don't use the luggage tags because you're better off just picking up your luggage. They will put it on the Magical Express. If you're doing that, they will just put the bags on the bus, and then you can take them with you to your resort so you have everything. Or make sure that you pack your carry-on with all the things that you need to at least get through the first day. Because, sitting and waiting for luggage is not fun.
Yeah, exactly, and that's a good tip. And also make sure to bring your magic bands too, because if you put those in your luggage, that's a problem.
Yeah, actually, you don't even need those to get on the Magical Express. It's nice to have them to scan in, but as long as you've got the reservation number or they actually send you a little a letter with all the itinerary information. So make sure you have all that stuff for sure. But yeah, if you've got your magic bands, then that's even better.
Great. No, that's great information, especially for those that use those luggage tags and might run into that situation. So we're going to end our show like we end most shows, and that's talking about rumors when they're out there. This is, again, according to WDW News Today. Basically, there was some photos that leaked out for the possible Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster concept vehicle. So it looks pretty much like a traditional train for a roller coaster, except it's much higher off of the track. And ostensibly that's so you can't see the track and you see where you're going. But I also thought it was interesting too. There's a in these pictures, you can kind of see that the trains are almost on a platform, on like a round, like I don't know how to describe it, but it looks like these trains will be able to turn.
Yes.
The actual cars will be able to turn.
Which there are other coasters that do this. So
there are.
So yeah,
yes.
they do rotate. I wonder if it has possible leaning technology too. So that could make, going into the turns feel a lot more intense than they actually are, because you can get the angle.
You can feel it. Yeah, you can match the angle. And I thought this was interesting because we had mentioned a while ago, and even this website, I believe, had mentioned a while ago that this was going to be more like a flying roller coaster. So for them to kind of say that this matches their like internal documents that they've obtained, because they've got some inside sources. We don't necessarily have those, but they do, and they're saying it matches internal documents of what it's going to look like. I don't know, because earlier I feel like last year when there was that patent for the flying coaster, I think we all thought that that's what it was going to be. I mean, obviously it's Disney, plans change all the time, so who knows? But I don't know. This looks interesting to me, especially if it does, kind of function like the Omni Mover, where your train specifically turns as you're moving to see certain scenes as you're going by. This could be really cool.
Yeah, and I'm thinking also too, because in Guardians of the Galaxy, the main thing is their ship is the Milano, right? Which is supposed to be
named after Alyssa Milano, I believe.
Is it?
I think they referenced that in the movie.
Oh, I don't remember that, but
yeah, I think they did. Someone could correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was the case. But anyway.
Yeah, so my thought was, yeah. Anyway, the thought was that the Milano is very maneuverable. So I'm wondering if maybe this is going to match, like you're flying with the Milano, or you're chasing it, or the NovaCorp ships as well, which are supposed to be like fighter jet almost.
That's really interesting. I hadn't thought about that, but that would be pretty cool if they could pull that off.
Yeah, I would bet. Again, thinking about what I've seen and what Disney will do, is that they'll probably, if this is an indoor thing, they'll probably combine it with the projection technology that they have, that it'll look like you're flying alongside of other ships like NovaCorp or the Milano or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if you see that in the coaster. And,
that makes sense to me.
And let's review this in a year or so, whenever this releases. See how close I am.
Yeah, I do. Well, yeah, because you're the one that gets all the things right on the show when you guess on these rumors. So I think Damon fell asleep. I think we need to shake him awake somehow.
No, I'm looking at the coaster and trying to determine how I feel on these pictures. I can't make a.
It's hard to determine.
It's pretty rock and roller coaster as far as the layout goes. Right. I
mean, it does look like they're going to spin, right? But that's kind of sort of exciting. I don't know. They look cool.
They do.
But I don't know. Again, I have, the whole riding above the coaster, rail is something interesting. I mean, there's been some interesting Donkey Kong Universal patents around that system as well. So I don't know if I was maybe envisioning that. Like I said, this whole Universal Mario Land has got me all amped up for all these new technologies, and this falls somewhere in the middle, I think. It's not as dull and humdrum as some people are saying, but it's interesting. And again, you know how I feel about rides. I love rides. I mean, I don't really care for Guardians of the Galaxy, but I love rides. So I still don't know how I feel, but I think I'm leaning towards this should be interesting. That's kind of how I feel.
I feel like you'd be more excited about it if it didn't take away your one of your favorites at Disney, right?
No, I think
you're not bitter about that.
I mean, I'm bitter about that, but that's any ride. I'd be more excited about it if it wasn't Guardians of the Galaxy.
I think Guardians is definitely a love-hate thing.
I've never even seen it. I hate it on principle.
I just feel like you'd like it, though. I feel like it would be your type of thing. I don't know.
Principle,
they really are good movies. I mean, they're fun movies.
Can't do it.
Okay.
I don't know.
If this was if you were this is Mr. Toad's new wild ride, I'd be all over it, right? That would be awesome. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
I already got movies for them. You know what I mean? Like, I can watch movies. They're exciting if I wanted to, which I haven't, but I could.
I want you to watch it someday and just be pleasantly surprised, like you were with the Navi River journey.
I've seen parts of it. I may have even probably witnessed most of it. To be honest with you, the first one I would say. But I could just envision so many other interesting concepts that would feel more Disney for me, but that's just me.
No, that's fair. I mean, I don't know. This looks cool though. It does. If they can make this like a roller coaster, like an Omni-Mover roller coaster, it could be cool.
The only thing about the spinning is, right? Now, I go on every roller coaster that I can possibly get on. But spinning brings its own set of interesting stomach churning phenomenon. And there is a ride at Busch Gardens, and I want to say it's like some dark castle something, right?
I know what ride you're talking about, and I'm forgetting the name of it.
I think it's called Dark Castle or something like that.
I think you're right, yeah.
Yeah, Curse of Dark Castle.
Yep.
Okay. So, and again, I'm just gonna make an assumption here that you've actually never ridden it, right?
Well, I've actually never been to Busch Gardens, so
okay.
But I know of the ride because of.
I was going to be pretty impressed if you rode that. I'll be honest with you. I was going to be like, "Wow, you won't ride Space Mountain, but you ride that." Anyway, part of that ride does a little spinny spin, right? And that was a little bit of a problem. So again, big roller coaster person, don't like the super spinny spins. Can handle them teacup level, but can't handle them when we're talking about like super fast in the middle of a ride with projection screens. Because the part of the, making your stomach sick is the disconnect between, the screen,
what you're seeing and what you're feeling.
Yeah.
Same thing with kind of car sickness, right? Depending on what you do. So anyway, the only thing is I worry a little bit about that. Now, again, I don't know. I think Disney's pretty smart in that regard, and they don't like to alienate people. I mean, they already have one of those rides, right, that makes people sick. I don't know whether they introduce another one.
Well,
so I wonder about that. I wonder about the spinning. I don't know if it'll be a spin or a turn.
So,
like Trevor, you were saying.
Yeah.
I mean, my thought is, they've already got Dino Whirl, right? Which is, it's a wild mouse coaster with...
Yeah, that doesn't make me sick though.
Yeah, but it has that just that random spinning.
They do have the signs on. Yeah, the signs on to say, "Hey, you might get sick."
Yeah, to me, the way that these cars look, this looks like it's going to have a mechanical system controlling it. It's not just going to be that the cars will disengage a lock and just randomly spin as you're doing loops. I feel that it's going to be a very controlled thing, and it's going to line up with what they want you to see in the ride.
So Dark Castle is also the same thing. It is a controlled spin, right? So there's a part of the ride where you go do this crazy spin. It's not like a unlatched system that is. Yeah, no, it's a we're gonna make you sick spin. Like, oh, here you go. You got vampires coming at you. Well, guess what? You thought that was scary? You're gonna be sick in a minute. And we all got off that ride. And we're like, oh man, I'm hurt up.
That doesn't sound like fun.
It doesn't.
No. So we probably rode it once. Like, because again, I have to ride everything. It doesn't matter if it's gonna make me sick or not. I gotta ride it. So we rode it, and then we were kind of like, I don't know, we're gonna ride that again. Like, that was a one and done sort of thing, and I was kind of okay with that.
See, I kind of see it more like the Haunted Mansion with the roller coaster, where you're turning backwards to go down that hill at the end, just slowly. I feel like it's going to be that slow turn just to get you to where they want you to look, basically.
So now some breaking news from January that I guess I never knew of. They're closing down Dark Castle.
What? Oh,
yeah. Oh, my goodness. Now I'm glad I wrote it. Oh, because that new super awesome Better Than Pandora ride is going to be there. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
What is that?
So, there's this action VR ride. It's called Battle for, I'm going to say, Ire. I don't know what it is. It's like a fairy thing, but it's like...
Is it a VR coaster?
VR. It's yeah, I guess that's what you would call it, right? Like kind of like a VR coaster.
Yeah.
But it looks kind of cool, so we're going to go ride that. I'll report back on that.
All right.
You worry.
We'll save that for our Busch Gardens podcast.
Wait. That's what I need. You know what I need on the thing? I need where Trevor has his traveling internationally with Trevor. I need seeing other amusement parks with Damon.
You know what? I actually kind of like that idea. Now
I would definitely do that.
Now we're
Damon's
producing the show.
Yes, I see. There you go.
Oh,
He's even got it.
Trevor, that was amazing.
Trevor, that was gold. That was gold right
sorry.
there. I like that.
There it is.
Yeah, I mean, alliteration always works well with these things. No, I just like that we're producing the show on the show.
Yes. Well, so add that in for me.
All right,
I got next
show.
episode.
All right.
Next show. Done. All right, why don't we wrap this thing up?
Yeah, let's do it. Wait, that's me, and I even get to wrap up this time,
you
too.
get to wrap
since
it up.
I'm on like every other episode, so when I get on, I guess I get to wrap up.
That's right.
All right. So email us, welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. So we had a few things. You can tell us what you think about, Damon's Detours upcoming, right? And you can also, please tell us about Aquatica and the Volcano Bay. I really would like to know about that. But you can also send us DVC stuff because, that's kind of what we do here. So that we should always leave that as an option. I can't even mention the website. So, again, I've already solicited some questions and answer questions for myself for the next podcast. But if you have any questions for us, by all means, send them over to us as well. And you can kind of get on those questions on social media as well. We actually have had some pretty good interaction on Facebook. I think we've all been pleasantly surprised. We like that. I would say we even love it.
Yeah,
I even go as loving it.
Yeah.
On Facebook at Welcome Home Podcast, please like us. Twitter, Welcome Home Pod. Instagram, Welcome Home Pics. Don't expect too much from either one of those. Really, Facebook is where it's at. For us, because we're old. We can't do that other stuff.
We need a social media intern.
And we do Facebook. Yes.
We do social
if anyone
media.
wants to do that and be our intern, by all means, Tom said he will sign any paperwork you need from your college.
That's right.
And we'll get it taken care of. Anyway, also please review us on iTunes. That helps us get to more listeners, which is always our goal. And it should be your goal because it's our goal and we want to produce more shows. So please do that as well. And I'm going to hand it back to Tom.
Yeah, and the bigger we get, the more we can do things, right? So the more you'll hear from us.
I keep on telling Tom to get out, some sort of T-shirts to people, but he keeps on ignoring me. So I try people. I don't know.
I think we should do buttons.
Even for the yearly episode, I would think we could have gotten a T-shirt out or something.
Well,
nothing. Nothing.
To be honest with all you guys, because we like to be honest on here. I want a new logo, but when we get a new logo,
fan submitted logo.
Yeah, if you are artistically talented and you want to submit a logo for us, we will definitely review it because we could use a new logo. And once that happens, I would love to make T-shirts and coffee mugs. I
kind of think though, our logo is dope because you could do a shirt. With a classy little embroidery,
a little patch.
Yep, you could do a button. You could do a coffee mug. You could do a lot of things. I don't know. I kind of dig it. But if you have something better than that,
so that aesthetic, but better.
Exactly.
There you go.
Someone with talent, please do it because I made that logo and I am not graphically.
You have to sign away all your rights to it, though. Right. Unfortunately, but that's just the price you pay.
Welcome Home Podcast Incorporated. All right. Anyway, so don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, just about any podcast app you can find out there. Just search for Welcome Home. You'll find us. Of course, a reminder to our listeners, as always, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. Hopefully you're entertained by this. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, any opinions we express on the show are our own. So please consult with a DVC representative for any questions or a Disney cast member. Call Disney directly to ask any questions about this. Damon, do you have anything to plug today?
I would want to say that I'm always entertained by these, and that's just me personally.
That's why we do them.
I'm definitely always entertained, but I still can't wrap my head around this new project, but I think it has a name, Mouse Domicile. So stay tuned for that. It's going to eventually come out. I swear, It really will. But probably not until I get a little more free time, but it's coming.
That is a challenge.
And BSC Kids as well. We have some interviews with a lot of upcoming talent. I think actually in the works I have a Black Panther interview. I don't know. I'm a little late to the game with that, but we're trying.
That's pretty cool.
That is exciting.
That's really cool. Trevor, do you have anything you want to plug?
Not at this point.
All right, cool. Well, join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert AWOL, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
We do a huddle when we hit a chair. How she can cuddle is no